thanks everybody for coming. I know that it's exciting time, anxious time, all sorts of things. And those of you that have been around the capital region for a while know that this is not a different time either, because we've been through it a few times and certainly we'll draw on that experience. As I did mention, I know it's an anxious time. I know it's an anxious time for you guys because you want to do your job, you want to do your job well. You certainly want to be out in front of it, and I respect that. And I know it's an anxious time for our fans because they certainly want us to find the right person to continue this ascension of Siena basketball. And it's certainly an anxious time for people in our internal community because they want to know that we're going to be able to bring somebody in here that respects the academic mission of Siena College and it respects the values of Siena College, and that's important. But I think primarily it's an anxious time for these guys and who they represent. And at the end of the day, no matter what the process is, no matter how long it takes or how short it is, the important thing is that we get it right for these guys. They've put a lot of their heart and soul into this program. These two guys in the last 3 years, guys like Alex Franklin, who I just talked to for the last 4 years. And quite frankly, they've put Father Kevin and our community in an enviable position of being able to attract somebody that is going to bring all the values that we need. Siena has a program that has national stature now. It's a program that has a long tradition of success. So our objective is to continue that, to find the right person. As I said, the timeline will be as short or as long as it takes to make the right decision. I respect that you guys have a job to do, and I know Jason Rich is here to help you do that. So I know that he's ready to step up and lead you guys to the guidance as well. So take any questions, any comments that you might have. Mark.
Have you developed a profile in terms of what type of coach you're looking for, in terms of whether they have head coaching experience, or could they possibly come from the assistant coaching ranks?
The type of person that we want is somebody that's going to help us continue to win. It's going to help us be somebody that's going to respect what we want to do academically. If that's an assistant coach or a head coach, so be it. But as long as they can help us achieve those goals, that's where we're going to look. Hey, Pete.
Hey, John. Can you outline what the process will be like here? Who, is there going to be a search committee? Will this be solely your decision? Can you just fill us in on some of those details?
Well, I'm going to be working with our president, Father Kevin Mullen. The idea is that, obviously, as the athletic director, I'll be talking to a lot of people to find out whether they're good fits or not. And then when we get it to a certain critical number, he's going to join me in that vetting process. And at the end of the day, I'll make a recommendation to him of 1, 2, 3 people, I'm not sure the exact number, and then we'll go from there, and he'll make the final call on that.
Is there a timetable on how soon you guys want to get this done?
No, there isn't, and I don't think that we need to have a timetable. We have a great team coming back. We have a couple of recruits signed. I know we do have 1 scholarship left to give, but at the end of the day, I'd rather do it right and take our time and make the right choice. Marissa?
John, obviously, there are names out there that have already said they're interested in this job. Have people reached out to you, or have you guys started to reach out to anybody yet?
People have reached out to me, whether no coaches directly. Obviously, a lot of times nowadays this is done through intermediaries, for good or for bad. So that's happened, and I've started to ask questions about people as well, but I haven't had any direct contact with anybody. Phil?
For the casual observer, the fan is not intensely into it, but cares whether Siena does well or not. This all has a very familiar pattern. Coach comes here, does well, leaves. Coach comes, doesn't do well, leaves. New coach comes, does well, leaves. Any thoughts on trying to attract someone where this wouldn't be the pattern, or is this just an inevitable byproduct of success for a mid-major?
That's a great question. It's been asked a lot of times over the last 10 or 15 years. I think to a certain degree it's a byproduct of a mid-major because what you want is somebody that's going to come in here and be successful, like we have been, whether it's winning championships and graduating players. And if that happens, somebody at the next level is going to be interested in that person. And I think while we want people to stay here forever, we're also realistic enough to know that you want somebody to succeed and do well because that means that they're going to be attracted to somebody, so be it. If they don't do well and they don't succeed, you're right, then there's a high expectation of this program, then the decision may be made for them. But at the end of the day, I think it's just the cycle of being a mid-major.
John, just clarifying, no coaches have contacted you at this point?
No, that's correct.
Thank you.
Pete?
John, it's become a trend a little bit, it seems like, for schools to hire a consulting firm or a search firm to help with this process. Just to be clear, it sounds like you guys are not doing that?
That's not the direction we're gonna go in. We'll do an internal search and won't be using a search firm.
John, how attractive is a guy like Mitch who's made it known that, you know, he'd be interested in the position, certainly someone, you know, who's been here and may stay here?
Yeah. Usually my first rule of these things is I don't comment about specific candidates, but this is the exception to that rule. I think obviously because Mitch has been with us, a big part of our success, you know, we need to respect that. He's somebody that I'm interested in talking to, and I'm sure I will before the week is out.
You've listed a number of values that you want the coach to adhere to, the school to adhere to in its process. You didn't mention, but it is a part of most college athletics, the economics here. How much of a difference does it make for Siena that it have a winning basketball program? Is the school going to at least break even if you don't have a winning basketball program?
That's a great question. Our business model is never one where our basketball team is self-sufficient or supports the entire athletic department. It's always been approached at Siena that it's a vital piece of the community, so it's resourced as such. The value to us is that we graduate quality student athletes and that we are able to bring some type of national prestige to the college that you don't always measure in dollar and cents. So while yes, we want a lot of people down at the Times Union Center because it means more people buying tickets, at the end of the day, our business model is not that basketball has to bring in X amount of revenue every year.
Couple more questions. Just kind of echo what you said in your statement yesterday. It seems like with Fran leaving, the feeling from the university, from the college, is one of gratitude for what he's done at the school.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I told him this yesterday morning when we talked about 9:30 or so, that, you know, I'm happy for him. And I don't mean to say that to sound like, you know, I'm holding the door open for him, because I'm not, but I think he's deserved this opportunity. He's a person that's kind of done it, if you will, the old-fashioned way. He's coached for a lot of years at a few different institutions. He's done it right. He's done it well. So that's why I'm happy for him and his family, and I know he'll do a good job out there. Hey, Mark.
You talked about it's a cycle of a mid-major, that coaches come, coaches go. Do you have any sort of timetable expectation when you hire a coach, how long they may stay? Is it usually considered a 5-year window, 4-year window, regardless of whether they're successful or not?
Not really, but knowing that, you know, 4 to 5 years is usually what it takes for somebody to come in, and even if you inherit a great team, it's still a transition, and you never know what's going to happen. And I think people like to see a body of work. You know, you can argue whether a body of work is 5 years or 10 years, but people like to see some consistency. So for me, there's nothing really that says we know we'll have a guy for 5 years or 6 years or 7 years. Again, it's about making the right choice for these guys and for the college.
Last question, Rich?
John, situations in the past, excluding Coach Lanier, have you reached out to the coaches prior? Will you reach out to Coach McCaffery for advice as far as the search goes a little bit? Hey, you know, he knows the program best, kind of thing. Give me some advice on guys you think we should be looking at.
Yeah, I had already asked him, actually prior to Sunday. I said, look, if something does happen at some point, I'm going to want to talk to you and get your input on what you think we need to keep things going. And, you know, guys that have been here in the past, some of them, they're my friends. And quite honestly, they're more friends now than they were here, because it's a different relationship when you're here. And now I can reach out to them and discuss if I need to.